Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the Vampire Diaries, Season 6, Episode 9, I Alone. And this episode, I was definitely very looking forward to because what I love the Vampire Diaries did in the last episode is that they're not making the main focus of this season Elena and Damon's relationship. It's not about that anymore. It's about what's going on with Kai, Joe, and Liv, and also Bonnie, trying to get Bonnie back. It's all about that now, and I think it's actually made the show a lot more interesting. This was probably the second best episode of the season. I did not like it as much as the last one. I thought this was a very strong episode, but I did think that the last one was better. Now, I do have one small complaint with this episode, and that is basically that this did not feel like the episode before the finale. It really didn't. It did not feel like the episode we're going to get before the finale. I don't think the mid-season finale is going to be, like, the promo made it look amazing, but it did not feel like the episode before the finale. If anything, the episode before that, Fade Into You, really felt like the episode before the finale. But let's just get to this episode. So, Joe shows up to Alaric's and finds him lighting candles, and she says she didn't know it was one of those nights. And he teases her for being enthusiastic, and she says she's had a day from hell. She's excited to see he has Thai food, and says she's starving. Damon says he compelled Alaric to get Joe drunk to dig up into info about the ascendant. So, they talk about her dad and how he tried to kill her and banished him. And she says she made a deal to get her freedom by betraying her brother. And, of course, they're talking about, basically... And I think it's good that Damon compelled Alaric. I think that was the right thing to do. I mean, Alaric knows too much. He's not human, and he's not human. He's human now, so I think it's good that he decided to compel Alaric. He had to be compelled. So... she says that her family didn't know she has the Ascendant, and she says having it makes her feel safe because she knows no one can use it to release Kai. However, we don't know where Kai is, keep in mind, because the last episode left off with Kai getting in that car and him basically abandoning Bonnie. So we have no idea what's happened to Kai. So he pours her more wine, and she guzzles it, then kisses him. And Stefan tells Damon that Alaric is going to kill him once he knows. And Damon says Stefan has betrayed a friend too and reminds him how annoyed Caroline is with him, who is not in this episode. Caroline's not in this episode. Sorry, guys. My friend just hanged up on Skype, alright? But Caroline is not in this episode. She's not in this episode at all, and I don't understand why they keep doing this. They don't want Caroline in certain episodes, but I don't know. She's not in this episode. So... Damon says that he hopes the Ascendant theft has already happened, and sure enough, Alaric walks in with the Ascendant, and he compels Alaric to be a good boyfriend and forget this ever happened, and, basically he's compelling him, and I think it's really cool that Damon is compelling him. It's really cool to see that, and I definitely agree with what people are saying. I mean, the Damon we're seeing this season is a lot like Season 1 Damon, definitely a lot like that, and we're seeing that more and more every single episode, definitely, so I agree with what people are saying there. So basically, Jeremy and Elena are out for a jog, and she comments that he's in a better mood. He says he purged his grief and is ready to move on, because of course, he had that whole freak out about Bonnie, and he really realized the seriousness of it. He destroyed her phone, so... basically, he's ready to move on, though. He's ready to start dating again. She sighs, thinks, and says she has something to tell him, something about Bonnie. And she says Damon just found out that Bonnie's alive and is working hard to get her back. And he says Liv is working on a way to send them over to the Essential Jail to get her back. And Jeremy says this is good news, but he's heard all this before. And he marches off angry because, of course, if you remember last season, Season 5... Bonnie died. The only reason that Jeremy came back is because Bonnie saved him. Bonnie resurrected him. And, of course, Bonnie ended up dying in Season 4. And then, of course, they resurrect her in Season 5, so he's kind of upset because this has all happened before and there's nothing new. And I kind of like that they wrote Jeremy this way because it's true. This is nothing different than what happened in Season 5. They're trying to bring her back, and this is really nothing different. So I agree with what he said there. So, basically, Tyler tells Liv she needs to stay put and says he brought her back to Mystic Falls to protect her from the Supes, and she's packing and demands to go back to work the spell for them to help get Bonnie back, and she says she's not a prisoner and she's not Rapunzel. And I thought that was a very good line. He asks why Luke can't do it, and she says he's spending his last few weeks having fun, because if you remember, they are leaving town. They plan on it. And he says if her coven finds her, they'll force her to merge. He tells her this is not a joke, but she says she can't run away forever. He tells her he will find a way. He steps closer and kisses her, and you can tell that they have a very difficult situation. But what I do like is that they are officially together. I definitely really like them as a couple, and I think they're very, very good together. So Sarah overhears the whole twin merge thing, and she tells Matt that Mystic Falls is very weird, and they talk for a moment about the trip thing, and Matt says the whole Mystic Falls protection thing is done, tosses the roster in the fire, so that's over. Which I thought was interesting because here's my question: why not just go back to Mystic Falls? I mean, if Mystic Falls really is done with the whole protection thing, go back to Mystic Falls. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. So Sarah tells him it's time to keep his word about introducing her to her family, and Damon and Elena take a walk, and he brings up Caroline and Stefan. And she says she just wants them both to be happy. They meet, live in the woods with the Ascendant and some Bennett blood. And she says she's surprised that Joe gave it up since it's the only thing keeping Kai in place and went away from killing her. So Liv hands over vials of her blood for them to drink to link them to her so she can bring them back from the other side. She has another vial for them to give to Bonnie and drink. She activates the Ascendant, and then they're back in 1994. They're in 1994 now by the cemetery. And I thought that was surprising. I didn't think that would happen, but this was definitely very well done. Elena says she came there every day after the accident for months. It's where her parents are buried, but they're not in 1994 because they were still alive. And, she thinks that they're in the time period where her parents are dead, but they're not. They're still alive at this point. So he tells her to keep her eyes peeled for Kai, and Kai is complaining about skinny jeans in the back of a car. And as I've said before, Kai is awesome, okay? Kai just gets more and more awesome every episode. He really is one of the best villains the show has ever had, and he really will be remembered for that. He, by far, is the best part of this season. So he asks about the whole crazy security thing on airplanes, and the driver says they're worried about terrorists. He apologized for being chatty. The cab pulls up, and he tells Kai it's $30 for the ride. He pulls out some headphones, chokes the driver with them instead of paying him. The guy slumps over. Kai puts the earbuds in the driver's ears, hops out of the cab. He leans back in, says thank you. He's at the college that Damon and Elena are in. So that was definitely very crazy. And they can't find Bonnie anywhere. This is their main mission, is to find out where Bonnie is. And Elena slumps onto the sofa and wonders if Kai did something to her, which we do know that he basically just abandoned her, and now we have no idea where she is. So, and I like that we didn't see a lot of Bonnie in this episode, because it made us very interested in seeing what's going on with Bonnie. We see Bonnie in a few scenes, one very pivotal scene, but we don't see Bonnie a lot throughout this whole episode. So Elena sees a couch cushion and smells blood, and he tells her if Kai has Bonnie, they need to talk. He says he had his pager number and can page him. And of course, she doesn't know how pagers work because she was only 2 in 1994. So he basically tells her how it works and everything, and I thought that was a good scene overall. And I like that Elena and Damon are very close now. They're good friends. They're starting to get that spark back. I definitely enjoy that. And what I like is that that's not the forefront of the season. I know a lot of people were annoyed that basically Delana was the show, but that's not what the show's about right now. The show's about these witches and Kai and everything. I think that's really cool. They've kind of changed the tone of it. So I definitely really enjoyed that. So Sarah waits with Matt in the diner, and she's very interested about meeting her closest relative, but it's Enzo that shows up. He introduced himself, and Matt tells him to leave. Stefan comes in and tells Enzo to back it down. He really doesn't want to see him, of course, and Stefan says he doesn't want to have to clean up his corpse, and Enzo says he's making a bad impression in front of a relative, and still, Stefan wants to kill Enzo. He still wants to do it. So Stefan doesn't get it, so Sarah introduces herself as Zach's daughter, and, of course, Enzo doesn't understand what that means. So Elena finds a video camera in the house and turns it on, and it's Damon. And Damon, of course, saying he's in hell. He says it's his own personal world. Damon snatches the video camera from her, says it was a real-world audition tape. I thought that was really funny. She says it's a video journal, and he says it's not, and those are lame. And the phone rings, and Damon at this point, thinks it's Kai on the phone. That's who he thinks is calling. He threatens to hurt Kai if he hurts one hair on Bonnie's head. But it's not. It's Bonnie. And this was a very well done scene because, think about it. Elena has not spoken to Bonnie since she died. And, she really cares about Bonnie. Bonnie was her best friend. Even though she's, Caroline's her best friend right now, Bonnie was really her best friend. So Elena says they're in the Salvatore house in 1994 and are there to get her back, and Bonnie cries in the phone booth in Portland. She says he stole her blood and left her in Portland. She says she's on the way back to Mystic Falls and has no clue where Kai is. She says she's in Indiana, and they tell her she's got to be there before Liv pulls him out. She looks like she just has enough time to make it there. And Elena's thrilled after she hangs up, and Damon says Kai has everything he needs to get out and is worried he may, in fact, already be out. So that was interesting. So Kai walks into the bar where Liv is working. He sits and orders a Zima. She tells him that's hilarious and asks if he really wants to order. And the second he saw Liv, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be huge. Because, of course, Liv was preparing to see Kai, but I knew this was going to be big because now Kai is in, he's in the real world now. So I thought that was definitely very big. So Alaric's leafing through a book when Joe comes in and asks where it is. He asks what she means. She says, stop joking, and asks where the ascendant is. He says, excuse me. He says he has no idea, and she begins searching his place. He tells her he doesn't have it, and she asks if he told Damon where it was. He says they decided to look for it another way, and he says he didn't tell anyone and wouldn't. She says he never would, but that doesn't mean he didn't. And she basically says that Damon could have compelled him, and he laughs and says he wouldn't do that. She says to prove it, she says they're going to Mystic Falls to walk across the border and see if his memory comes back. Basically just to see what ends up happening there. So Elena and Damon are cooking. They're working the crossword, which of course Damon and Bonnie did a lot of. And she reads the story about the slaughter in Portland. And he tells her that was Kai's work. And Elena asks if Kai is out. Basically she says if Kai's out, he's going after Joe. No doubt about it. Joe is the ascendant. That's what Kai wants. He wants the ascendant. That's what Kai's plan has been this whole time. It's just to get that ascendant because it'll make him more powerful. But of course, Joe has it. So Elena knows, look, if Kai's back, he's going after Joe. And she asks why Joe won't just hand over the ascendant. He says he asked nicely. She asks if Joe just gave it to him. And he deflects and goes to change the music. He says she didn't give it to him. Alaric stole it from her, and he says he was compelled. He says he compelled him to. And Elena stalks out, and he goes after her. She says, why wouldn't he compel his best friend? And he says he's trying to get Bonnie back, that's why. And she says he just wants Bonnie back to remind her how great Damon is. And says it's really all about what he wants. That's why she's doing this. And I like that she admitted that, because she didn't seem to have that much, she was excited to see Bonnie, obviously, but Damon is the one that wants this, which I find very surprising because, of course, Bonnie and Elena were very, very tight. Elena was so hung up on finding Bonnie before, and now that they're very close to finding Bonnie, Elena's not really interested in that anymore, which I find very interesting. I really like the story there. It's very good writing, the way they've made Bonnie and Damon so close. That's definitely is one of my favorite parts of the season is that friendship between Bonnie and Damon. Who would have thought that happened? I mean, Elena even says in the episode, who would have thought Bonnie and Damon would have happened? So Sarah tells Stefan that, where was I? Okay, so Enzo and Matt then sit at the counter, and Enzo tells Matt what they're saying, except he's lying and saying that Sarah is saying he's a loser. Matt tells Enzo that everyone hates him. Sarah tells Stefan he had herself emancipated. He orders them chocolate milkshake and says it's a family tradition. The blender clicks on to block Enzo's hearing. Stefan tells her to get up and walk out. He says he knows she's lying. He doesn't think she's telling the truth. He really does not think that she is, Sarah Salvatore. He doesn't really think that she's Sarah Salvatore. So the blender clicks off, and basically he asks if she's ready to go. They get up to walk out, and Matt asks where they're going. She tells Matt it's fine, she'll call him later, and she leaves with Stefan. So it's very awkward with Kai. He literally asks Liv if she's on Twitter, and he's making, really awkward small talk. I thought it was just so funny that the first thing he says to his sister, hey, are you on Twitter? I thought that was really funny. So basically, she does not believe that he was born in 1972 and tells her to look at the ID again. And she sees that his last name is Parker, and he grabs her hands. He says the last time he saw her, she doesn't realize this is Kai. Basically, he says the last time he saw her, he was trying to kill her. She tries to run, but he drains some of her magic and used it to lock her in the bar. She runs upstairs, he follows. She knows what he's going to do. She knows what kind of power Kai has and does not want to see him right now. She tells him to stay away, and they face off. Tyler's there, throws him off the balcony, and he tells Liv, let's go. That was awesome. I mean, Tyler really, a lot of people said he doesn't belong on the show anymore, but he's had a lot to do this season. I'm happy they've given, Tyler more to do. They've really given everyone something to do this season, which I definitely really enjoyed. I enjoyed they gave pretty much everyone something to do, because that was definitely very well done. So, Enzo asks Matt if he finds it strange that Stefan and Sarah left, and Matt asks why he cares, and Enzo says he cares about authenticity. And he tells Matt that he hates Stefan because he's considered a hero, yet tried to kill him, and has killed others, and hurt the only decent girl he knows, which is Caroline. And he tells Matt that Stefan's a liar with a little box of secrets, and tells Matt that they should open the box. And Sarah tells Stefan that Zach and Gail are her parents, and she even has photos. And I really like this twist of Stefan not believing Sarah. And she, is trying to tell him, look, I have evidence. I have everything you need. I can prove to you that I'm Sarah. But he doesn't want to believe her. And she asks why. Because the question is, why doesn't he just want to believe her? It doesn't make sense. She tells him that, look, I'm Sarah. I was, adopted from the hospital by a good family. And he says he made sure of it and has looked out for her his whole life, even though she didn't know. And he asks Sarah who the hell she really is. She gets out to run, but he catches her. And she says her name is actually Monique. She's not Sarah. So, she's not actually Sarah Salvatore. So my question is, why the hell was she pretending to be Sarah Salvatore? I don't get it. Why was she pretending to be Sarah? That doesn't make sense. Because now we know this girl's, is not Sarah. Her name's actually Monique. So that doesn't really make sense. Why she's pretending to be Sarah. I don't really get that. So, then Damon finds Bonnie on the porch of her house. He tells her he had a bad day in May 1994 and said people died, a lot of them. He says he has felt a lot of guilt since then, so he thought this was his hell. But he says Bonnie never thought that. He says she was the reason that he survived, which is true. She saved him. That's why he is here, because she saved him. And she never made it out in return. And he really feels bad because of this, definitely. And Ian Somerhalder's performance in this episode really was fantastic. I thought he did a great job in this scene. He says they actually became friends, and he's doing it for Bonnie, not for her, and not for him. And he tells her that's it. That's why he's doing it. He's not doing it because he wants it. He's not doing it because she wants it. He's doing it because Bonnie would have wanted it. And I love that he says that. This whole season, we have had amazing character development for Damon, and this scene really proves that. And I love the character development they're giving him, because Damon is such a different person now. Seasons ago, Damon would have never said something like that. He was, oh yeah, I'm totally doing it for myself. This is totally what I want. He would never have said that. And Elena's completely shocked. She never thought that Damon and Bonnie could be a possibility. I don't think any of us really thought that. In fact, when Damon and Bonnie, when they first started getting really close, I think was the finale. In the finale, this is when we started to see the Damon and Bonnie scenes. And we saw how good they worked together. And I'm happy that the writers have incorporated them, their sort of like friendship into the plot. It's very well done. It's something new. It's something they haven't done before. And I really enjoy it. I think it's really good. Sorry guys, I'm getting my remote because I'm checking something real quickly. But I think that they are definitely, handling that very well. I really like the way they portrayed that. I thought it was very well done. And I definitely really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was definitely really good. So, basically, he tells her that they can make... Then she basically, says that... She says her porch swing used to squeak, and he says he fixed it. He says he and Bonnie were there every day because it brought him close to her. She says she regrets burning her house down. He asks if she wants to go inside. She says yeah, which of course Elena burned her house down when she lost her humanity, when she turned her humanity off. So she tells him she's sorry, she compelled away her memories, and says they were only half hers, and he tells her they can make new ones and touches her face. He looks at her, and we can see that they are starting to get back together. I honestly thought they were getting back together, but still, she doesn't want to. She gives that look in her face like, I don't know if this is right, and I like seeing this because, again, they're really dragging it out, and I like that they're dragging it out, because I don't want the whole forefront of the season to be a will they or won't they sort of thing, and that's not really what it is. It's more of, are they going to connect, and they're really doing it through the way that I said they would, which is just see if they actually have chemistry. See if they can really do it again, this is proving that, yes, they can do it again, but the question is, does Elena want to? Because she seemed pretty, upset that they're starting to feel closer. Because, of course, she still thinks of Damon as a monster, and she's not going to be able to get rid of those memories. So, they're back in the present, and Tyler and Liv are there, and Tyler says Kai is there trying to hurt Liv, and Elena demands that she send her back and reaches for Liv, but gets burned because Liv and Tyler are over the border of Mystic Falls, and Tyler and Liv take off, and Damon and Elena are stuck on the other side of the no magic zone, And then Monique says, Monique talks about how she met Sarah. We find out how Monique and Sarah connected. Monique says that she met Sarah at sleepaway camp. She says Sarah had a great life, and when she found out Sarah didn't want to find her real family, she decided to find them for herself. And he says he let Damon believe the baby died when he killed her mom. He says his brother is better now, but he didn't want to take a risk. And he tells her that there's a threat since she knows who Sarah really is. And he tells her to take off her vervain. She does. He compels her to forget Sarah, Mystic Falls, and all of them. He says to leave Virginia, never come back. And Matt pulls up and says hi to Sarah. She doesn't know who he is. Matt asks Stefan why he compelled her. Stefan says she's not family. She's a con artist. Enzo's there and grabs her. He says he wants the whole story. Stefan says there is no Sarah Salvatore, and Enzo asks why he whisked her away and stole her memories. And Enzo tells Matt that Stefan is digging in and protecting his lie. Now, let me talk about what I think of this twist. I think this is a very good twist, but it kind of makes me feel like this whole plot was completely pointless, because now we know that she was just faking the entire thing. And we're probably never going to see her again. So, what was the point of that? I don't see a point now. I mean, I know the point was, to see Trip and what happened there. I get that. But, at the same time, it seemed kind of pointless to me after all the character development we got with Sarah, earlier in the season. It seemed like she was actually Sarah, but no, she's Monique. But my question is, are we going to see her again? Because I don't know. So Kai finds Elena and Damon and destroys the Ascendant, completely destroys it, and I'm just like, why did he destroy it? He wanted it. And Damon comes for Kai, but he knocks him down with magic and says he stole some of Liv's magic when he tried to kill her. Elena tries to reassemble the Ascendant and gathers the pieces, but Kai sets the pieces on fire, catches Elena on fire. Damon throws Kai aside, and Elena gets the fire on her arms out. Kai is now on the other side of the border and says now there's a psycho loose in Mystic Falls, and no vampires around to stop him. So, Seven thinks Matt, that was definitely extremely crazy and really awesome. I mean, I don't care. When Kai's on the screen, it's awesome. It is. And when you can have a villain that's even more awesome than the main characters, that's when you know this show has written a good villain. Like, the best thing this season has done is written a really good, badass villain, and Kai really is that. I mean, the way the actor portrays his lines are very well done. The way he does, the way he acts, his motives, I love everything about Kai. I think he's a great character. So, Stefan then tells Matt he's sorry Enzo killed her. Matt says Stefan could have stopped him, and Stefan asks if he thinks that was easy for him. And Stefan says he thinks about everything before it happens, and Stefan says he's nothing like Enzo. But Matt says that he is, and says when it comes to vampires, humans' lives mean less. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, it makes sense why he said that. And, then, basically, Jeremy pours a glass of alcohol when his phone rings, and it's Elena. And she tells him she was on his way, and he says, let me guess. So the last minute didn't work out. He hangs up on her because he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear that it did not work finding Bonnie. He knew it wasn't going to. He's basically lost hope at this point. And Matt shows up and tells Jeremy not to take the drink. And I love this plot. I think this is really well done. He tells him he needs to channel his rage and says he needs to be a hunter again. He asks Jeremy to help him kill Enzo. And, that's huge, because they are going to kill Enzo. That's their plan here, is to kill Enzo, and I think that's really, really big. My question is it actually going to happen? We thought Enzo died back in episode 3, and he's alive, so I don't know if they're actually going to do it. And, of course, we thought Enzo also died in Man on Fire, and they brought him back. Enzo seems to be a character that they just keep bringing back, but, of course, Bonnie's not there, so they can't bring anyone back unless you have Joe, who I don't know if she has that power or not. I think she has that ability, because I think all witches do, but I'm not entirely sure of that. So Alaric shows up to confront Damon about compelling him. Damon says he had to try and get Bonnie back. Alaric says they promised Joe they'd keep Kai locked away. Damon says he's out, and Alaric punches him. He stomps away. Damon's really hurt, emotionally and physically. He tells Elena he left Bonnie a note, saying to come to her house. He says she probably made it with 30 minutes to spare. And this scene was really, really sad. The song they were playing was very well done. And this was probably my favorite scene in the episode. I thought this was very well done in my opinion. He says she sacrificed everything for them, and now she's stuck there all alone. And this scene was just heartbreaking. We see Bonnie running to the house. She doesn't find them. She's thinking that they're going to be there. She's upset. She's trying to smile. She closes her eyes and starts to cry. She slumps down on Elena's porch, and she's crying hysterically because she's basically losing hope. And this whole episode, I Alone, is the perfect title because Bonnie is alone right now, and she really has no hope of going back. And I think it's definitely very sad. But honestly, I really hope this arc doesn't end with Bonnie just dying, because that would be pointless and ridiculous if they just did that. If they did that, it'd be a total cop-out. I mean, a total cop-out if they did that. So Kai waits for Tyler when he comes home. He tells Tyler he'd rather not kill him, but he will. Tyler asks what he wants, and Kai says he's going to save Liv's life, and asks Tyler if he wants to make a deal with the devil. So that's huge, and of course we know that Kai is now probably going to merge with Joe. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the finale. Let's talk about a few things here. First of all, is Sarah gone? I mean, Monique, is she going to be done on the show? I feel like that whole plot was pointless now. I really do. I feel like we spent all these episodes on it, and now it's just pointless because it led to us finding out that this girl was a total fraud, and she wasn't Sarah Salvatore. She just knew her. I mean, it's a good plot device. It's a good twist, but it's ridiculous. It really is. It's a total cop-out, in my opinion. And I don't know if I'm exactly a fan of it. I don't know where they're going to take that, and we'll have to see where they take that, because they really could screw up that storyline for me if it doesn't work out well. What's going to happen with Kai? It looks like from the promo that Kai ends up, like, declaring war or something, so that's going to be huge to see. Is Kai going to merge with Joe? What's going to happen there? What is the deal that he wants to make with Tyler? That's going to be cool to see. Is there any hope in getting Bonnie back? In my opinion, I don't think there's any hope, really. I think they want to get Bonnie back, but there's really no hope at all, and I think they need to realize that, you know, they really can't get her back. They want to get Bonnie back, but there's really no hope, in my opinion. I don't think they can. I just think that it's too late, in my opinion, you know, to try to get her back. So really sad what's going on there, definitely. I definitely think it's very sad. Is Matt and Jeremy, are they going to be successful killing Enzo? He's died twice already, and then he's come back to life, so I think this should be no different, but we'll have to see. Who's going to win here? Honestly, I don't want Kai's story arc to end next week. I really want his story arc to continue, because it's made the show so much more interesting. This episode was a little bit disappointing. I did have a couple complaints, as I said. There were things that I thought made this episode not feel like the episode before the mid-season finale. I don't think the mid-season finale is going to be as big as we think. It could end up being very big, but it kind of felt like this episode was a little bit underwhelming. This whole season has been underwhelming. It's really made me not, you know, kind of, I used to, like, love this show, and now I'm not as into it. And it's not that I don't like the show, it's that the direction they're heading in, I just don't know where they're going to take some of these storylines. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. What did you think of the twist with Monique? I don't know what I really think of that. I kind of feel like it was pointless, honestly, and was just like a pointless arc, and they just put it in there to put it in there. That's in my review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Reign, something I know all you guys have been waiting for. Yes, I know what happens in the episode, and yes, I am definitely ready to talk about it, and you guys are definitely looking forward to it, so I will review that next. So, I'll see you guys for that. And I know this review is up late, guys, but I was watching Peter Pan live last night, and I didn't get a chance to watch it till now, so my review of Girl Meets World is going to be up tomorrow also, because I'm reviewing Reign next, and if I can watch Girl Meets World tonight, I can, but we'll have to see. I'll see you guys in the next video, though. Okay, which will be my review of Reign, so I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.